It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, we're taking a look at Thick Kingpin.
Thick Pin.
I was gonna write Thick Pin, but I'm like, I don't know if I should. But thank you for bringing that up.
Isn't that a Sharpie?
It might be.
But
there's a lot of C's in this thick, though. We'll talk about it later when we get there. And crazy ass news, Madam Web gets a character list, and you're not gonna believe who's playing who in this.
I think you teased me a little earlier this week in text message form, so excited to get to that segment.
Yeah, it gets wild. The Hulk could be back at Marvel by 2023. Not that he's not there, but distribution rights, Mike. You know
Yes,
that. And more.
And more. Yeah, if you're unaware, at the top of the show, when the opening theme is running, Chris and I are just kind of sitting here in silence, waiting for the theme to wrap up and start the show. So I always feel like Dewey Cox, where it's just like Dewey Cox needs to reflect on his whole life before he performs. It's like I'm just sitting here in my chair in silence, like, what am right now I'm just thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm pondering while we're talking about superheroes.
It was funny because on the flip side of this, I hear the music playing in my head, so I know when to click, or my headphones, so I know when to click. Hey, get to us. So like, it takes everything in my body not to sing along with the theme song. Which is great because, it's our show and our theme song. So, like, as many years as we've had this song, it's still catchy, after all this time.
Yeah, it's great. You're getting hype. You're hearing it. You got to read the first line of the intro. And I'm just coming in here silent, like I'm hiding from a bear. So, it's just fun. Just getting a little behind baseball for everybody else. Is it hot out there for anybody else? It has been hot as hell out here in Southern California. It is so warm, I want to die.
So it's actually cooler here in the Midwest than it has been. Probably like 10 degrees cooler today. And even more so, it was beautiful. Like, I was literally outside, had the windows down, driving around. No air conditioner for the first time in months, Mike.
Oh my God.
I think we've changed places.
That is a feeling. That is in Inside Out, they talk about core memories. One of my core memories is being back in the Midwest, riding around in a Jeep Wrangler with the doors off, anytime during the summer, and you're driving by like big not empty, it's full of corn, fields. Yeah, it's just like that is a core memory. Like that triggers thinking about it.
Would you call it a corn memory?
Got corn. It's a corn. Oh my God, that's a. I don't know if your wife has shown you the TikTok, because I know she shares a lot of that stuff with you. But there's a viral kid out there right now who waxes poetically about corn on the cob. He is adorable.
The little kid he's just like, what do you like about this? He's like, I love corn. It's a Turtles kid, but with corn all over again.
Yes, exactly. And he even has like a corn pun in there. And he goes, "What? It's a corn pun." I was like, okay, this got Chris written all over it.
Yeah. Well,
core memories. It's hot. We are approaching hurricane season on the East Coast and then fire season on the West Coast. So stay safe, everybody out there. You either need water or you're getting too much of it soon. So that's what's about to go down.
I had some rain this morning. Ruined my day plans. But that's fine. We have a little rain. It's nice out. Getting my grass green. As a lawn owner, I'm very, very proud of my grass. So it's time for that. But I was setting this corn pun up to go into my first topic here, because literally I've been talking to you about corn in the past 24 hours. Popcorn, that is. My wife and I took an impromptu trip to, I believe it was Walmart yesterday, and I was like, you know what? This weekend we have no plans. For those who may not know, I started a new job, so I'm like, I need to unwind a little bit this week. So I was like, let's watch some movies, catch up on some stuff we've not been able to do. Let's go grab some popcorn. And by God, the amount of choices in the popcorn aisle, they're paralyzing. I went with the Act 2 popcorn, Mike, simply because it is movie theater focused in its name and branding. So very much so. But like, we have extra butter. What was it? Supreme butter I shared with you. It's like the most buttery popcorn. Like, it's more butter than popcorn.
Oh, I'm pulling up the visual aid right now.
Yeah.
Chris, we often share pictures of snacks. That's what we do. It's what our relationship is founded on.
Yes.
We got Act 2 Extreme Butter, spelled with
Extreme
an
butter.
X at the beginning. Act
Yes.
2 Butter Lovers.
Butter Lovers,
So not
yeah.
entirely sure what the difference between Extreme Butter and Butter Lovers
I will
is.
tell you, the extreme butter is like almost like it is gooey almost, but it's like that nice gooey butter.
It's the way we like it. Kettle corn, solid dad corn, buttery kettle corn, which is like the next level. That's if your dad is a little bit more adventurous.
Yeah, that's like you gotta cross lines with the buttery kettle corn.
Yes, and then you got some little powders here: the nacho cheddar, white cheddar, garlic parmesan. Now, I have to say, I've never thought about putting those seasonings on top of the microwave popcorn. Like, I've put it on, like, you know, kind of like stovetop pop. So how did that go with this already extreme butter?
So I did extreme butter with the white cheddar.
Fuck, that sounds good.
Seasoning. It was really good.
Part of my language.
Yeah, it was really good. The thing about these Colonel Seasons flavorings, I think there's like 8 or 9 of them here, and I showed I'm paralyzed here. I don't know which ones to get. That thing comes out like it's not like a small drizzle. Like, that powder comes out of that container like nobody's business. So it was a little over seasoned, but like it was still good. Like, right, it hit the gooiness and dried it up a bit, so it was like very palatable flavor with the butter. I've not done the other ones yet. My wife really wanted the garlic parmesan. I'm like, that is a bold move from anyone involved. And nacho cheddar I think is a solid choice. But there's also 2 other flavors of Act 2 I did not get. There is just a regular home style popcorn, which is that one you're talking about, Mike. No flavor added to it, just standard. And I forget what the other one was, but there's but they both came in like 12 boxes of 12. I'm like, that's a lot of popcorn to be eaten here. So my question for everyone else is, what do you like popcorn with? I would love to get an actual popcorn maker, Mike, that has like the little thing you put the kernels in, a little oil.
I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, I know we talked about it. Oh God, I feel like it was just the other month, but no, we've been in and out of a pandemic for 2 years now. in the middle, the core of the pandemic, the wife and I were craving real, authentic movie theater popcorn. So we went all out. We did the research. We went on Amazon. We bought the same components the movie theater bought, and then we made it at home, and it tasted exactly like it. There's no secret sauce that's happening there. And I almost thought there would be like that psychological gap, right? Of just like, oh no, I have to eat it in a movie theater kind of to get that extra, you know, nostalgic feeling. No, popcorn at the movie theater tastes so good, it transcends any sort of locational bias, right? So you can eat it anywhere.
Oh yeah.
So I would recommend getting like the OG authentic ingredients.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I think this is great because it gives me a quick variety on the fly, right? Like, I can do like 2 minutes 15 seconds, have this up going, dump it in my bowl, and be watching my movie. Because we'll talk about the movies I watch, but like you may know this, Mike. Living with someone, if you have a bowl of popcorn, it goes away a lot quicker when there's 2 people going at it rather than one. So I had to get up and make another bag of popcorn in this first movie. But like, if anyone else has any recommendations on brands, flavors, styles, anything you do with your popcorn to spice it up a little bit, let us know, because we're snackies, right? We love our snacks, and if it's got a good gimmick, I'll try it. I will try it through and through.
Oh man, I hopped on Amazon for a second. I looked up popcorn machines.
Yeah.
There is zero lack of popcorn machines. You know, sometimes when you go on Amazon and you look something up, you see like the same variation over and over again with just a different logo slapped onto it. Like, there is just the economy around buying popcorn machines is lucrative. Wow.
So like, I like the idea that you probably seen the tall ones, right? That have the wheels or whatever. I never move it around, but it's got storage under it, which I really enjoy, you know, for stuff like that. Or I'm also looking like, hey, do I want to get one of those snack display things and get one of the tabletop ones, right, with that you put the stuff in. So this sits on top of this. I don't want the fancy newer ones. I don't want the hot air poppers. I don't want any of that stuff. I want the authentic, you know, 1950s looking thing. I'm playing Let's All Go to the Lobby while I'm making this kind of thing, right? Like, I really want to get into that. So
I think I'm looking actually here. I think I'm looking at like an authentic popcorn maker in a sense of like it's stainless steel and looks like it would be behind a counter. And I mean, it for the price, like $340. It obviously not a cheap appliance by any means, but for something that you would see like it at like an AMC or a Cinemark, I feel like that's a good
Is it
deal.
the Great Northern one?
And it's an old, you know, with an E to make it sound fancy,
yeah,
an
oldie.
oldie,
Yeah.
an oldie midway commercial popcorn machine.
Wow. Yeah, the commercial ones are nice, but yeah, I'm. This is something to look at. We love talking snacks. I love talking popcorn because I got to sit down and watch not one but 2 movies this weekend, Mike. In a twist of fate here, I was able to watch more movies than you for once.
Yes, and this is where I flash the double red exclamation mark emoji
Yeah.
and pray, pun intended, that you do not spoil any of these movies for me yet, because I haven't watched them.
I will not spoil them. So first and foremost, I gotta watch Prey. It's been on Hulu for a week now. If you don't know, Mike, you may know this. This is a Predator movie. It is in the Predator franchise, directed by Dan Trachtenberg of 10 Cloverfield Lane fame. Right? It stars Amber Midthunder from Legion, set in the Comanche Nation, Indian Nation and Predator on Earth. I will say, this is a for lack of a better term, this is a good time, Mike. I mean, I think, like I said, I'm eating popcorn watching Prey on the couch. Like, it's something like I feel you don't want to be on your phone doing anything with, because there's a lot going on in this movie, little things here and there. It's all about hunting. It's all about nature. It's very enthralling in how this movie operates, and I think is very true to the Predator franchise, at least the initial Predator franchise, right? I've seen Predator 1. I've not seen 2 since I was a kid, so I'm not going to speak to that. I've seen Predators with Adrian Brody and Topher Grace. I missed the last, was it just The Predator, I believe?
The reboot remake thing.
Yeah, it's still like a sequel, yeah, because it's still the same writer.
I think it had like Keegan-Michael Key and Olivia Munn in it, I think.
Yeah, it was written and directed by Shane Black, I'm pretty sure. And then I've seen this one. I've seen 1, 3, and 5, and I've really had a good time with these. So I would recommend, again, Prey's on Hulu, right? You have Hulu probably already. So like you can just go watch this. You don't have to go to the theaters. So very, very thrilled for that, Mike. Also expands the Predator mythos a little bit. I recommend it. The other movie I was able to catch is still in theaters, called Bullet Train. Sorry, Brad Pitt.
I want to see this. I want to see this so bad. It feels nostalgic in a way, right? Of a summer blockbuster hitting theaters that you had no idea existed until you saw the first trailer.
Yeah.
Because everything now is so franchise-based, love it or hate it, it's just how it is. So the movie's coming years in advance. I had no idea this was happening. So this would be hilarious if this is where you turn and say, don't go watch it because it's bad, after I just waxed poetically about it. But what did you think, Chris?
This is, like you say, a blockbuster film, right? This is something I really enjoy. I'm going to put the preface of there. If you have to wait till you watch it at home, put your phone away, because this movie comes at you like a bullet train, fast and like furious.
Are you writing the movie poster over there?
Oh yeah, 100%. I would say this is very much a Guy Ritchie film, like Snatch or like Lock, Stock, brought to today, set on literally a Japanese bullet train, Mike. And that makes it that much more fun, because there's stories going on, there's people coming and going, you're getting hit left and right. It's just such a great time. Brad Pitt is just a natural in this. All the actors in it are great. It was directed by David Leitch, who started with John Wick, right? He also directed Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and Furious movies. So this guy knows his action through and through. I think what I really enjoyed about this is all the actors, but I will give, even though we give Sony hell for all their movies, the actor, or I guess the musician Bad Bunny is in this, right? He does a amazing job in his role, Mike, as the character you're introduced to him in here. So
wasn't he rumored to do something Marvel or DC?
Well, it was Sony. It was the El Muerte, the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So even though I don't like Sony, he is a great actor, and he's just such a fun time to watch in this. But it is just it's very fun, very, very exciting, very action filled. A lot of stuff going on here. Love all the characters going on, and I can't say I'm trying not to. There's not really a way to spoil this, but it is just a lot going on, and you don't know what happens until the end, and it's really fun. So if you get a chance to see Bullet Train in theaters, I recommend it. If you have to wait till home, again, put your phone down, because you're going to want to catch everything going on in here, because everything is relevant to the story as it moves through it. So Kudos to that. Now, the other thing I didn't get to watch, was actually on my list, Mike, here, is the movie you got to watch. So tell us a little bit more about what you got to see this weekend and where we can find it at.
Yes, the film is brilliantly titled Shark Side of the Moon. If you're familiar with the studio The Asylum, who has brought you such films as Sharknado and any other film where two giant animals fight each other, you'll be able to sit down and watch the new film Shark Side of the Moon on Tubi, which, if you're not familiar, it's a free ad-supported streaming service that you don't even need to make an account for. Like, you just download the app and you just search Shark Side of the Moon and you can just start watching it. Soundboarding this mainly because I have two really close friends by the name of Ryan Ebert and Anna Rasmussen that wrote the film. They've written other Asylum movies before, so they're close friends. So it was fun. They've been promoting it all week on their social media accounts, and it's just, I feel like I've been in the Shark Side of the Moon influencing sphere in my local kind of social media group. So it's been kind of fun getting hyped for it. It's the perfect type of film. It's exactly what you think the title is, Shark Side of the Moon. You're gonna go in, have some beer, have some pizza, hang out with friends while you watch it. It's a hilarious time seeing sharks put on the other side of the moon. Well, I guess the dark side of the moon, right? But it's technically now the shark side of the moon. But if you're just looking for a dumb fun time, go check it out. I have friends that would really, truly appreciate it. It's silly. It's goofy. It's a great time. I love seeing the special effects, right? Just because some inside baseball, they're trying to make these movies as fast as possible because the Asylum puts out, like, literally, I think at one point in time, like 100 movies a year or something like that, right? No other studio out there, like, gets more than like a dozen out there, and that's with like different fractions of just like, well, it's Sony put out like 8 movies and then Columbia put out 4 movies, so we got 12. Like, no, they're cranking out films, so it's just great to see what they can achieve with the constraints that they have. So go check out Shark Side of the Moon if you're just looking for a laugh and a good time.
Right, and the other thing is, not necessarily, in this situation, is that these movies are parodies of other ones, right? That's where you see, like, coming out. I'm pretty sure the Asylum, didn't they do Top Gunner, Danger Zone, which is like...
Oh, if they didn't, it sounds like they did. Yeah. I believe you.
They did, like, a Thor God of Thunder as well. Like,
oh, yeah, Thor is ripe for bootlegs because nobody owns the name Thor. Like, it's just like if the MCU decided to make a character called God or Jesus, right? Like, well, anybody can make a movie titled Jesus. So that's hilarious. Yeah, and so I know Ryan and I've met them. So fantastic for them. I'm glad they got something out on Tubi. That's is it To Be or Not To Be? Is that where the name comes from? We've had enough puns with the title of the movie.
Well, I'm a shotgun effect here. Like, if I just keep putting them out there, one will stick eventually. But yes, Shark Side of the Moon, a pun in and of itself of Dark Side of the Moon. Guys, check it out. It's on Tubi. Like Mike said, free app. He even tested it while we were on the call earlier. He's like, I don't need to even log in. It's just watch it right here. So awesome. Let's jump into the main. I think this is probably maybe the main story of this week, and it's going to require some talking up top. But I think it's one of the most interesting things here because, as Mike says, literally every week, Mike, what do you say on the show? Well, I wish I could hire a lawyer to tell us what's going on in these contract things.
It's like, wait, what do I say?
Yeah.
Is this about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that Michael Bay never made the third one?
Yeah, the third one that you keep. He's out there lobbying. He's got at least 5 signatures on Change.org for TMNT 3.
Yeah, they're all mine.
But the Hulk has distribution rights with Universal and Marvel, right? This is why you don't see the Hulk in Disney Plus. This is why you don't see it usually in box sets, or if it's released, it's not released with the same look as all the other Marvel movies. I believe they've made a couple deals to include it in like the Phase 1 box set or like the whole Infinity Saga sets. But it's very rarely do you see this movie get the same treatment the Marvel sets because Universal has the distribution rights. So when an article or I guess our news popped up earlier this week that someone has found evidence from old SEC filings that point to Universal's Hulk distribution agreement ending in June of 2023. Well, my ears perked up, and I had to send this to you. Right away.
Yes. This is my favorite kind of news. I love it when we talk about this stuff on the show because it's like the truth or the secret, like hiding in plain sight. And it's always so funny because there is like an unlimited amount of MCU Marvel fans out there, right?
Yes.
But just nobody happened to kind of like look in this specific direction. So I just love out that like a corporation can put as much secrecy as they want into something, but eventually some sort of legal action has to happen, right? You know, like the day before the Comic-Con announcement this year, a lot of those titles were the copyrights were like registered over in like the UK or something like that, and that's how we picked that up. Yep. So I just love it when this is how the tidbits fall. It's almost kind of similar to how we get leaks of stuff when it comes out as a toy, right? It's just these companies get so big and like the machine to make these movies becomes so large that you just can't survey every little nook and cranny. And then that's where the rats sneak in.
Right. And I guess the other part of this is, you know, what makes me hurt the most is looking at this is just to kind of read here, Universal has agreed to distribute Marvel's film, The Incredible Hulk, and sequels on essentially the same terms and those which Paramount has agreed to distribute other films. Paramount has done like every other film up until the Avengers. I think it was shared Avengers Disney, right? Whenever Disney bought them. After that, Paramount was done. But you know, the Hulk still exists in the Universal realm as agreed. But like it says here, Paramount shall have the rights to exercise Paramount distribution rights with respect to each picture for an initial period of 15 years. By next year, the Hulk will have been out for 15 fucking years, Mike. And I'm like, oh, if that doesn't make me feel old, I don't know what does. like literally, like right now, it's sitting at 14 years. So, the Incredible Hulk is an interesting movie in the MCU. I guess echelon of films. Number one, it literally came out 2 months after Iron Man. So like these were both the first two movies. The third one was supposed to be Ant-Man, which never came to fruition. But Iron Man and the Hulk are what Marvel banked their MCU on. The Incredible Hulk, as I've talked, is really the first movie that also points to a connected cinematic universe. Correct? Like the first Iron Man is enough by itself. This one actually includes references to S.H.I.E.L.D., references to everything else going on, and it actually includes Robert Downey Jr. showing up at the end of this movie and saying, hey, you know, I heard you got a Hulk problem. And you're like, oh my God, he was already in this movie 2 months ago that everybody loved. Like, we got to pull this together. This is fantastic. The other part of this is it is one of the only original actors to never make another movie again with Marvel.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So when you think that, you know, Feige is about to have like this new tool of like a Hulk movie, right? You know, the wheels start to spin and you start to go, well, eventually, right, we are going to like sunset Hemsworth and oh God, why can't I think of
Ruffalo?
Ruffalo, yeah. We gotta eventually these actors are gonna want to retire, go on and do something else, or at least minimize their roles. We gotta like send their characters off into the sunset in some way, right? And you don't want the Hulk to do that in like, you know, a streaming series or at least like a team up movie, right? You know,
where his name's not even in it.
Yeah, you want his name on the title. So I like that we now have this option coming up. But at the same time, you know, Ruffalo seems like a fun guy, and he's pretty much physically been removed from the filmmaking process. He's just like a CG character now, which I don't hate. You know, I mean, I think that's really cool that the Hulk is just big and green and can smash stuff whenever he wants now.
Partially, we have seen him in his human form more lately. So we're gonna learn about that.
with some of the post-credit scenes. That's right. So I mean, if he wanted to just keep doing this character for years and years and years, he could get away with it. And even, you know, if he starts to age out of the role, which actually that's a benefit too, though, because the Hulk, if I remember correctly in the comic books, is kind of canonically aged, right? You know, there's versions of like the Hulk with like a gray beard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
he can live forever kind of thing,
Yeah, so the character is still allowed to like age in a way, but this is a long way of saying like it does feel like the Hulk is kind of building to something, right? You know, She-Hulk's about to come out this week.
She-Hulk, yeah, that's the big thing. Like they're not just doing the Hulk. They're including She-Hulk, which is again the cousin to Hulk. And what does this mean at the end of the day?
Yeah, and there's so much Hulk stuff still left on the table that they haven't been able to touch yet, right? We haven't seen a Red Hulk, a Gray Hulk. Abomination's only shown up 1.25 times.
We've not had a World War Hulk, which I think a lot of people are knocking at the door to get at, right? We want World War Hulk.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, a cinematic experience in theaters with a couple of Hulks just smashing stuff just sounds like a wonderful time. So yeah, now I would say the most immediate question is, right, going to be that Phase 6 timeline, which we get to see hopefully filled out at D3.
Right.
Do we get to see an announcement of a Hulk movie in there at some point in time? Yeah. Because we saw the announcement about, or at least the news of the X-Men not being able to be named or cast because of legalese for just a couple more months, I think.
Yeah.
But are they able to announce a Hulk movie, right? Because they technically wouldn't be distributing it, right, for at least a couple more years, and that would come up. But that would be so exciting, right?
Yeah.
To be sitting down in that amphitheater, and then they show a Hulk logo up there as a film, and then the cast comes out. Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be so cool.
Even if they don't bring the cast out, right? It's still that's kind of, She-Hulk will have been going for a couple weeks, right? We'll know what's kind of going on there. They bring out, hey, we're gonna do for this is just a World War Hulk movie, right, or something like that. Planet Hulk, and we get She-Hulk and Hulk in a movie. They're bringing Tatiana Maslany's character into a bigger Hulk role. What I would love to see from this is a version, the Maestro version of the Hulk. You're familiar with him, the one who's bald and has the big beard that you were talking of.
Oh, yeah. So
there's that. Again, you mentioned Red Hulk. You mentioned, he's got a son, Scar, who's also a Hulk, right? So, I don't think She-Hulk is included in these rights when they talk about the Hulk rights, just the Incredible Hulk and sequels. So, I'm going to lean that they're probably not going to announce a Hulk movie. I don't know how announcements affect, contractual rights. That's why we wish we had a lawyer at this point in our tenure. But it would be fantastic to see this kind of build off because, again, he was a huge part in Ragnarok, right? Other than, after the Avengers, he didn't show up until Avengers 2. And then he didn't show up again until Ragnarok, right? So, the Hulk has kind of been sidelined for a lot of the MCU since that thing. He was huge during Infinity War, right? That was not Infinity War, Endgame, right? As Professor Hulk, but we can only have so much fun with a Professor Hulk. Where's the Rage Monster at?
How do we realistically get the Hulk in a 1920s gangster suit? How do we make that happen? It's a skin that's available in video games from the comic books.
Mr. Fix-It is his name, actually. Joe Fix-It.
I mean, you could see it as a one-off joke really easily, right? It's a little montage of him playing dress up or something for a second, and then he pops up in a gangster suit. We'd all have a laugh, right? But is there any way we can make it a scene? That would be so funny.
What I think is interesting about what we don't get. She-Hulk is not two separate people, right? She's just still Jennifer Walters who turns into a Hulk, right? But Bruce and the Hulk are two personas in and of itself. So are there extra Hulk personas inside of him? And maybe we play on the psyche of it, right? He's battling not just his Rage Hulk, but the Mr. Fix-It gangster Hulk, the Maestro Hulk, whatever. I don't know. That's definitely something.
I'm looking up different versions of the Hulk, and I found an article about lesser known Hulks.
Yeah.
There's one called Infernal Hulk that has demon horns. It looked like it just climbed out of hell. It looks awesome.
There's a recent Hulk series, I think maybe even written by Donny Cates, I could be wrong here, where it goes through he is battling different Hulk personas inside of him, trying to take control, trying to figure out who is the primal Hulk, the origin Hulk of who's the worst of them all. And
I mean, you could even take it out of the psychological realm and make it just multiversal. Right?
That was I say.
We know we're building up to a battle world.
Yes,
there's gonna be Hulks from other universes.
And one of the battle worlds in the 2015 thing is actually a Hulk area. Literally everyone in this is Hulk.
Oh my god! And that's the movie.
Yeah, and then if you remember, I don't know if you ever read Old Man Logan or not.
Oh yeah,
he's literally going across. He's carrying a Hulk baby across the wastelands with him. Like literally, the future. Imagine maybe. Correct me if multiversal, but like also like maybe a different timeline. Like a Maestro future Hulk comes back in time, and so we have to get our Hulk versus a Maestro Hulk, like kind of thing.
God. The possibilities. I feel like my brain has just not been given permission to think
you can't
about what the future
these rights, Mike. These thoughts, don't distribute them.
Universal knocks on my bedroom at night when I'm dreaming. It's like, no, you're not allowed to think about the Hulk. We have control over that, which is hilarious because they haven't really been doing anything with it because they can't. All they can do is it's that weird sliver of Hollywood where back in the day you needed somebody with the skills to distribute something, which is hilarious now because that's just called the publish button on the internet, right? Anybody, I could be the distributor for Marvel if they wanted me to. I'll just upload the movie to my Twitter account. So it's funny. These deals won't really exist anymore in the future. I think they're more readily out there for TV shows because there's a lot more cross-pollinations with studios there. But if this rumor is true, if this is great, we'll get confirmation sooner or later, right? Because I feel like they really want to expand this Hulk universe, which means they're going to have to dip into a film sooner rather than later. So
100%. And if you're looking for this stuff, we have linked the Reddit article with links to literally the SEC government site archives, so you can take a look at them, read them through yourselves. I kind of breezed through them. I'm like, yep, this makes sense to me, because it's very much Universal was just a clone of the Paramount settings, not necessarily its own separate unique agreement at the end of the day. So if Paramount ends in next year, not that Paramount has ever been a problem, is Paramount owned by anybody? Were they bought?
No, I think Paramount's one of those last kind of few studios. Well, not even few. Like they're kind of just like it's like a medium studio, right? Because they're connected to Viacom and Paramount Plus in a way. Yeah. But now they have one of the biggest movies of all time, Top Gun. I'm sure Tom Cruise has always had an infinite open-ended deal with Paramount, but now it's gotten probably even more flexible, right? So we'll be seeing more Paramount and Tom Cruise.
Okay, so in 2013, Disney purchased the distribution rights for those Phase 1 Marvel movies. Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America. So I'm like, why is Paramount not like throwing their hat in this ring, right? But because Disney was like, yeah, the hell with you, we're gonna buy them right out. Like, well, what's your price? We'll buy them.
Paramount, unfortunately, probably used all that money to try to get that Halo franchise off the ground, which not working too well.
No, they got a season 2 coming. We'll give them that. They paid Steven Spielberg's royalties to come in and provide some feedback early.
Bless the script. It's like, Steven, you got to open it up and read it. No, I'm just blessing it. I'm like the Pope.
Yeah, well, except he's Jewish, so whatever the equivalent of that is in his religion.
Yeah, what's the Jewish Pope? Yeah, somebody out there with more knowledge, please tell me.
Yes, please tell us. We don't want to offend anybody yet. The show's still young. All right, let's move on, Mike, unless you have any questions or anything else about that.
No, I mean, this is basically tangentially related. So.
Oh, my gosh. The next thing this week, we get our first episode of She-Hulk on Disney+. Yay, very excited.
Yay, She-Hulk.
Yes, so this is, there are two vocal minorities out there, the people who hated the CGI, but has gotten better, right, in the following trailers. And then people who just hate women superheroes, which looks like this is, very much a women superhero-focused show. But I'm very excited for this. To hell with them. More MCU. I believe Mark Ruffalo might be in this first episode, Mike, as well. From what I've heard, I've like literally avoided all TV spots, commercials, anything. I've seen.
Is this 8 episodes? Right,
nine episodes of half-hour length. Yeah,
great. So we got nine weeks of this, and it's Thursday, not Wednesday.
Correct. It is Thursdays now.
Thursday. Gotcha. See, I was confused because, Chris, to tie into our next topic here of I Am Groot, I sat down to watch She-Hulk last week because I thought it came out last week. Yeah. I opened up Disney Plus to be inundated with I Am Groot shorts because they're not even listed as one thing. They're like each short has its own little poster on Disney Plus. So I begrudgingly watched the first episode of I Am Groot. Not because I wasn't looking forward to it, but I thought I was turning on my TV to watch She-Hulk. And I was like, no, it's Groot.
That's like opening a regular drink and getting a diet on accident kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
You're not mad, but you're like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
It wasn't what I expected. Yeah. So at least I'll get She-Hulk this week. Yeah. I guess you can be tided over with I Am Groot until She-Hulk lands.
Yeah. Well, just real quick before we get off She-Hulk, remember these are 30-minute episodes or less. Like there's a little window here when they say 30 minutes. It's not exactly 30 minutes. So for everyone to be prepared, these are short episodes. They're going to breeze through like WandaVision did. So we're going to be getting this for the next 9 weeks around those 30-minute
I know this is a silly little complaint, but I would love some uniformity of when I am to expect a post-credit scene on a Disney Plus Marvel show. I have no idea when they're coming. I thought we were only going to be seeing them at the end of the last episode, and then they started to creep in earlier. Yeah. And then sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. It's just confusing.
Like you know how they have like those warnings at the beginning of an episode? Warning: there is a post-credit scene at the end of this episode. Do not turn.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm bouncing, but like I feel like I've been trained in a Marvel movie, right, to be like, oh, after I get this ending, I get another fun tease, so now I'm excited for it. So Disney Plus show will end, and I'm looking for the tease, and I don't get it, and I'm just like, oh man, that's no fun.
Well, and I would also say, and this is no fault of anyone's. It's actually great. These Disney Plus shows have longer credits because they credit literally every different language, right? Every region this is in one show. So I'm like, this is really long. What is there something at the end? And I just kind of fast forward through it. And I'm like, oh, it's just credits. It's just fine. Great for people to I want them to be credited, but I'm like, oh, this is not what I was expecting along the way.
And then it's even a little extra confusing because I watch a lot of TV, and there's already built-in TV kind of language to where TV was kind of doing post-credit scenes before movies ever did. They were called stingers. It was where you would wrap up like your story, and then you would throw a little stinger at the end of your episode to get people to tune in next week. And that's essentially what a post-credit scene is. So it's like sometimes there is a stinger, sometimes there isn't. It's just confusing. That's all. Just give me the proper expectations, please.
And I would also say, They do the trailer for the next episode the next day, right, on Disney Plus now. Like, you don't get to see that trailer for the next one until, like, the next day. So I wish that was kind of tagged on the end of the episode myself. But we'll see how She-Hulk does. We've not really had a straight comedy series, right, yet. This is a new genre for the MCU Disney Plus shows with, a similar episode count of WandaVision. So,
I mean, Iron Fist was pretty funny, but for a different reason.
I don't even know if it was funny, but that's also Netflix. I blame somebody else for that entirely. Anyway, speaking of funny shows, I Am Groot was out this week, Mike, as you mentioned, and these are interesting because I watched them out of order, because one of these shorts is literally in between Guardians 1 and Guardians 2, and that's called Groot's First Steps, which I should have known, but that's not the first one they showed me.
The first one is like where it's the creatures that live under the rock, right?
Well, if you click on it, yes. That's not number one. The number one is because you've only seen one of these 5, right?
Yeah, I've just seen the one where he plays God.
Yeah, so literally the first one chronologically is him in his cup after dancing at the end of Guardians 1. That version of Groot, and then he gets taken care of by these machines and becomes the Groot that we know. So what is that journey for him to get out of the pot onto his feet, kind of thing.
Oh. So I need to go watch that one. I mean,
it doesn't matter. They're shorts, but like it's still just chronologically that way.
I've not really been able to pivot my brain into shorts on Disney. I mean, I get it. I love shorts, but I feel like I've always been spoon-fed them, right? Like in front of a movie where I didn't really have a choice. And I've always enjoyed them, but I've just never really seeked them out. Yeah. The other week, we did watch a couple of the Baymax shorts, which was interesting because I haven't engaged with Big Hero 6 in years, right? Like since the movie came out. So like I was like, do I even want to watch these anymore? Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, I remember Baymax is a wonderful character. Yeah. He's a goofy idiot, and I love it. So the Baymax shorts, I could recommend those. I haven't watched them all yet, but they're just nice little contained stories. They're just nice.
Disney does one of my favorites. There was a Mickey Mouse shorts they showed at Disney World, and then they also put them on Disney Plus and YouTube. I think like 5 seasons worth. Like these are award-winning shorts, right? I love Disney short, like the way they do those mini. I wouldn't say like they're like Looney Tune length, but they're not as zany as Looney Tunes. I actually really enjoy them, and the Groot ones, I thoroughly enjoy how beautiful these things are. And like you mentioned that first episode that you watched, right? That we've seen where he's like fighting, I guess, the little aphids or whatever.
Yeah,
he's like feeding them, and they're like fighting him. Is really funny because like it shows like he's a little bitty dude to begin with, and then he's like these are even littler than him. And what's that look like? So I think it's a beautiful series.
Have you seen all of the shorts?
Yes, I have. We watched under 20 minutes to watch them all.
Are they all computer generated, or
they're all this? They're all this way.
Okay, I wasn't sure if any live action characters kind of pop their head at any point in time.
Yes, there is.
Okay,
so you will get more than just Groot.
Okay.
So the very last one, and just so you watch them, is called Groot's Magnum Opus, which is the one you should watch last, because it actually takes place after Guardians 2 on that big ship that they run away in at the end, because Milano isn't there or whatever. So thoroughly enjoy these. These are hilarious little things you can digest them.
They're like. Whatever. And they're like the shortiest shorts that have ever shorted. They are very fast. Like the Baymax shorts are at least like 9 to 10 minutes. I think these are like less than 5.
Oh yeah, these are similar to the Pixar shorts you would see before a movie, right? This is about that length, if not shorter.
You could scroll past one of these in TikTok, and it would easily hold your attention until you scroll to the next one.
Yeah,
which is probably the intention.
Yeah, and I think these were fun. Again, you don't have to watch them to know what's going on, but by gosh, there are some really good moments in here, Mike. I think you'd enjoy. So, if I recommend anybody, kids will love them. Again, what's cuter than a baby Yoda? A baby Groot. So. And then I also looked at all the credits. Vin Diesel does the I Am Groot for every episode. They confirm he records his lines for everything. They don't just reuse any of them. So, because I think it was funny because there's the one you watch, Mike. There's like they do like 23 minutes later, kind of like the SpongeBob thing does, and he's still like yelling and pouting kind of thing. I was like, oh, that's fun. This is entertaining. This is how a child would act. So. All right, moving on. This is some of my favorite photos. If you don't know this, everyone should. We have all of our links in our show notes every week, either at superheroslate.com or in your podcast app. You scroll down, you'll see our notes. This is stuff you're going to want to see, because I feel like this is probably the most revealing thing we've seen out of the Ironheart series to date, Mike.
Yeah, this is pretty shocking, because before this we were just operating off of concept art of like a beta version
from Black
suit,
Panther, right? From
just like bits and bobs. Like I feel like this kind of like hit me hard and fast, almost to a sense of I forgot about it until we just started talking about it.
So we have, if you look up the character Ironheart, you're gonna see a very like petite, almost pink and yellow and red, like Iron Man armor, right, flying around.
Kind of looks a little bit like the rescue suit that we saw in Endgame.
In-game. So whenever we say you're going to get your first look at the Ironheart Mark whatever armor this is, you are not going to believe what the hell you're looking at right here. Because I would almost say this is almost Gundam level, Mike.
I would say maybe we could consider this like maybe Mark II, if kind of like the piecemeal suit is kind of Mark I.
Well, if you take a look at this and you bring up piecemeal, this is like, if you look at her knees in this, those are different knees. So this is, I would say, piecemeal part 2.
This is crazy. So just like to kind of look at it, it looks like we're getting kind of like a top-down paparazzi shot from it, right? So you do get to kind of see it in full, but the face mask looks extra angry. Like it has very like evil eyebrows, and it looks like does it look like below the kind of like the nose of the mask? Is that open? Do you think maybe we're going to be seeing Ironheart's mouth?
No. There's another photo I didn't include here. It shows the character with the CG suit, and she has the mask above her head. I think they're going to close that in. I think this is just for modeling. here.
Or maybe there's spots where maybe they're doing this feature where maybe the mask will slide up partially, so you can kind of see the mouth emote, so you can kind of see the human underneath it.
Yeah, because what I saw with the actress, and it looks like the original Iron Man, where the helmet goes up, it doesn't disintegrate, kind of thing. She's not using nanotechnology, and just so everyone, this looks more like a War Machine armor for everyone to look.
Yes,
who looks at this.
exactly. Especially with like the asymmetric like shoulders and things like that.
The shoulders, the knees. I can't tell if that's red paint or blood on her. One of the two. The foot looks like paint, but like the chest looks like blood liquid, right? Like kind of things.
Yeah.
She's got a big gun on her right wrist. Is that a shield, like a America painted shield on her left wrist there? A little bit, or is that just red and blue?
Yeah, maybe slightly. I do see a tinge of blue. It's hard to say if this is a gun or if it's maybe like a laser beam that might be maybe a little bit more kid friendly on a Disney Plus show. It's hard to say. The suit looks rad. It looks totally drastically different from what we see in the comic books, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pivot pretty far from the comics, because I never engaged in any of the story that already exists. But what I've been seeing out there online is that it's not necessarily that the character is bad, but I guess just the stories have not been super engaging. So I've actually seen a lot of positive feedback from the internet where they're just like, we're excited to see them almost improve upon what the comics started off. So I don't know if like the storylines improve over time if you're reading like an issue or a trade. I would also, but it's.
Well, I was gonna say, like, her story involves Iron Man, 3D, like, kind of guiding her, like a hologram of Iron Man. Like Tony Stark is guiding her. In this, it sounds like her origin is Wakanda based, right, rather than actual Iron Man based. So I believe they're pivoting quite hard for this.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe because if this is kind of like Wakanda en route, right? If she does need like a mentor in a way that is connected in some way to Tony, what if it's like Jarvis, right? / Vision. Like they were trying to like, mechanically like remove that Infinity Stone from Vision. Maybe they were like downloading a copy of his brain, or maybe they have something there, right? Where they have a little bit of Jarvis in her suit, and that, they can, sync up there. That would be fun. I mean, we all love Paul Bettany in any way we can get him.
Right. And what we know from, again, Wakanda is they are a nation who's mostly ready for war at any given moment, right? They're more brutal, a little more, I guess ferocious in what they're doing, right? Whereas Iron Man's like, I want to make a shield around the world. They're more like, I want to make a sword for the world. And this looks like a very much a battle ready suit. Like she's about ready to go ham on somebody in the streets in this suit.
Yeah. And is it this person in a red cloak and a pistol?
So the next picture we get is actor Anthony Ramos in his role confirming the Hood is the villain for this. And we've talked about the Hood before, Mike. I don't know if you remember what the Hood does.
Of course I don't. Of course I don't remember.
Yeah. So the Hood, literally, he just has a magic red hood that is empowered him, I believe, by Dormammu himself. So he's not just firing a regular gun. Like he's able to do magic stuff with this. He's a little more impervious. He's not just a dude with a gun. But like this is, if you Google the Hood, Marvel, Mike, right now, tell me if this does not look exactly like him.
I mean,
along the way.
I have to say, it's not exactly difficult to pull off, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if this character kind of hits the zeitgeist just right, this is going to be a very easy Halloween costume or a cosplay to pull off, that's for sure. Just make sure you check in at the booth at the beginning of the convention center.
Guns.
You're going to need to tag those guns,
yeah.
Right? But it is interesting, right? I always love how they figure out the origins of characters in the MCU, right?
Yes.
And it feels like this one, the lift isn't too heavy. If you're just looking for a magically imbued item, I feel like they've done a lot of the legwork for magic in the MCU already.
Well, the other part of this that makes it interesting is if he's magic and she's tech, like we've never really had a magic versus tech battle before, right? Like this is going to be a new era, and I think that's a very pivoting, or I guess not pivoting, riveting catch for this. It's not just she's not fighting a color change version of her, which would be Armor Wars. She's fighting a magically imbued gangster who he's not just firing guns, he can also fire magic bolts and do kind of stuff like that. So very interesting in my book.
Now the X factor here, now that I'm looking through Google Images for the Hood, because this is what we do on the show now, is I just do my research live.
He's doing it live.
is there's a lot of imagery here where he kind of transforms into this like grotesque monster underneath the hood, where his entire cranium kind of turns into a jaw, and he's got like a long like venom like tongue. So I hope we get to see that transformation at some point in time, because that would be sick. It looks really cool. But yeah, I wonder if this is going to be a main antagonist. How long will the hood stick around? Will they translate to other movies or shows into the future? We shall see.
Here's the thing I didn't add until today, Mike, because this is a rumor, very, very new rumor based on filming, is that the hood will be also empowered or trained or given this by Agatha Harkness, who we know is getting a show later on in Disney Plus.
I mean, she's got an axe to grind, right? I don't remember if it was you that told me or if maybe I saw it out there online, but if the Scarlet Witch is indeed incapacitated or vanished, the spell theoretically on Agatha should be lifted, right?
Yep.
So she could be out there on a revenge tour, just giving anything to anybody that has an axe to grind.
Right. And she will be, I believe, if we're looking for evil magic items, she would be the person to go to, right? Like she would know evil magic items, possibly more than Baron Mordo's not really evil. He just has no more magic, so I think he'd work against her. But yeah, like if she's unchecked, untapped now, we're gonna see her some more.
Well, also Baron Mordo's decapitated, so I don't think he's doing much of anything right now.
Only in deleted scenes, and we know last week deleted scenes don't count, sadly. So
maybe they magically preserved his head, like Futurama, put him in a jar.
Well, they did with Ant-Man in What If. Mm-hmm. Remember the zombie?
That's true.
Ant-Man?
That's true. Yeah, that's right. You are right. He was in a jar.
Yeah, I know my Marvel. So Ironheart, literally take a look at these photos. Give us your feedback. My mind is blown. I'm surprised they're going so different, but also very thrilled that they're going so different as well.
I have a strong feeling though, just like every suit in the MCU, as the character progresses, the suit will transform and slim, get more aerodynamic.
And if she's working with Shuri, it will probably get more nanotechnology as they move towards that too. So, yeah, take a look at that. We know right now the Echo show is filming, and the newest photos show Vince D'Onofrio back on set as Kingpin to appease everyone who didn't like him in his Hawaiian shirt. He is back in his classic white outfit, looking grumpy as hell. But man, did he bulk up for this role again. This is your big boy Kingpin, Mike. This isn't your little guy Kingpin. This is your big boy Kingpin, and he's on a mission, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know if Vincent D'Onofrio, I don't remember what his hair situation was like before he started playing the Kingpin, but it must be nice to have a reason to have a bald head, right? Mm-hmm. Because you just like, oh, this is great. I just wake up every day, don't even need shampoo. Yeah. Just rinse my scalp, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, the savings.
Yeah. I think this is just a one more opportunity to put it out there in the world that Chris and I have two different prevailing theories with what happened to Kingpin after the Hawkeye series. Chris is under the notion that Echo has deafened the man with a gunshot to his ears, which poetically works with the story. I'm not saying it's a bad theory, but my theory is that it was Daredevil that jumped down, that possibly kicked or knocked the gun away as it was firing, and maybe that's how we're introducing the character, because Daredevil is a man of justice and law and wouldn't just let Kingpin get murdered in the street.
At the end of the day, I think we both agree, and this confirms he wasn't shot in the head. They did not shoot Kingpin. He's not dead, and he doesn't have an eye patch, right? Or like like any kind of maiming or scar. So I think we are both under that impression. Like either way it goes, he's obviously going to be back in this. He's going to be in Kingpin or Daredevil, born again as Kingpin, a character that just keeps on giving. Here, right?
Also,
fantastic.
And just so everybody doesn't forget about my most favorite theory that I invented last week.
Oh God!
This Kingpin, when he dreams in Netflix Kingpin. That is canon. He is dreaming Netflix TV shows. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what that means exactly, but he is dreaming himself getting his ass beat already.
Nobody knows what you mean, Mike, and that's fine.
Everybody knows.
Everybody dreams in Netflix. That's what we all do. But speaking of Disney Plus, before we shift gears here, there's new prices coming for Disney Plus. It's coming out on the 3-year anniversary of the service. So for those of us who prepaid for 3 years, we have to choose a new path going forward. So currently the price is $7.99 without ads. This is going away. They're doing a $7.99 with ads. So they said what, 4, or is it like, I forget how many ads they said per hour. But you're essentially getting like a Hulu with ads version, right? On your Disney Plus, if you keep at the current price, there is no monthly subscription for this, or there's no yearly subscription for this. If you want to maintain without your ads, you can go up to $10.99 a month or $109.99 a year. So 10 months.
This is already hard to keep track of. We even have like a nice little bulleted list in our show notes. So head on over to Superhero Slate to read it out. But like just keeping track of just like little dollar amounts here and there, it gets so confusing because all of these streaming services are somewhat competitively priced. They're all within $1 of each other.
Right.
So you always forget, okay, which one costs $14? Which one costs $15? Wait, which one is the premium one that's kind of getting closer to $20 now? Like, oh, but there's a bundle. So if anybody is getting stressed out, wishing that cable would come back to save us with its unskippable ads and long contracts, just remember, this is a uncontracted streaming service that you can remove, delete, reinstall, resubscribe anytime that you want. So if you're ever feeling stressed about it, like, please do not pray for cable to come back. You do not remember how awful cable truly was. Bloated with channels that you never watched. The only thing that made it somewhat tolerable was the DVR. So just please don't pray for it, because it might come back and I hate it. I want it to die. The past, kill it.
And like you said, it's literally you pick and choose what you want each month. So your price can vary based on what you want to watch, which is fantastic. You can go through this chart. I think the biggest thing is here is if you want Disney Plus and Hulu with no ads, and ESPN Plus with ads, there's no ESPN Plus without ads option, it's $20 a month. That price did not change at all. I believe, like after talking about this with my wife, we're going to go to the without ads and prepay for the year, because it's 10 months price for a full year of no ads.
Yeah, as of right now, well, I'm paying the $3 a month or whatever that Disney Plus deal. So the price that I was paying for Disney Plus is not real in my head at this given moment. Yeah. But if it was indeed $8 and I bundled it with my Hulu, I'm looking at like $21 a month anyway for those two. So now it makes sense for me to go with this big bundle.
Well, do you have? If you pay for them separately, yeah. Because you have Hulu, you have Hulu with ads, right? Because
I have Hulu no ads, which I don't even remember how much that costs. I think it's at least $13, if not maybe $1 more. Like I said, it gets very confusing in these mid-teens prices. So the bundle looks like the way I have to go. But I feel like this is another thing that I need to remind people of, that I think some people have forgotten over the last 3 years. Disney Plus was always artificially priced low. Right. It was never going to remain $8. They made it so cheap to gain subscribers, and it worked.
Yeah.
Like
they're more than Netflix now, I believe, is what I saw this week.
Yeah, the numbers are fudged just a little bit because Disney is including all of these other subscribers and these like subsidiaries over in India, which are or aren't Disney Plus, so that kind of gets them over the hump of Netflix. But any way that you look at it, their growth has been catastrophically fast, and that is because they artificially priced it low. So yeah, it is a bummer that it's going up in price, but like we all kind of knew it was going to happen, right? Yeah. You know, they gave us a taste, and now they're jacking up the price.
What I like right now is, and this stands true as of today, as I say this, is unlike Warner Brothers, the new guy at Discovery, who's like, no more 45 days. Disney's like, all our stuff's still 45 days to our streaming service. So even if it is $11 a month, I know within a month and a half, I will be able to watch anything that's in theaters on there without ads. And I'm like, that's fantastic, right? Like that commitment is great.
It's so weird. The subscription model has become so the norm, right? It is really hard to remember what it was like, because I'm starting to do this thought process in my head with the PlayStation subscription service, right? Like I think for a year of the most expensive PlayStation subscription for like their premium or whatever they call it, the third tier one.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Goddamn.
Yeah, I think it breaks down to like $10 or $12 a month, or it was like $120 a year or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that seems like a lot, when you think about it, but it's like that's less than 2 video games, because PS5 games are $70 now.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't even play a lot of games, and that's still a good deal for me, right? Like, I was looking at purchasing that new game where you play a cat called Stray.
Yep.
Now, it's only $40, right? But if I subscribe, I could just subscribe for a couple of months and play that game and also play other ones. Mm-hmm. You kind of forget what it was like to be like, like a child of like the 90s or the 2000s, right? Where you had to go out and physically buy your media. Like, how many CDs did we buy as a kid, Chris, right?
Yeah.
They're like $10-13 a pop. You buy 20 of them a year, or 10, like you're already over like the price of subscription. So yeah, it is weird to kind of repivot your brain of like, you think you're getting ripped off, but compared to what it was, but you are the consumer at the end of the day, so you are always allowed to complain about big corporations. I'm never going to stop anyone from complaining about a big corporation.
And price changes definitely suck, right? Increases. There's never a price decrease for anybody. But, again, it all depends on what you're watching and where you find your value. Like I said, we have Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and HBO Max in my house. We're reevaluating HBO Max based on what they do going forward, but like, I know what I watch, and I know those 3 things have it. So like, I'm like, this is fine with me, kind of thing along the way. So I think we'll be good. It's also cheaper than buying. Like, when you think about buying a Disney movie they never go down in price. So you're like, that's $25 to $40 depending on if you get the 4K version, or you can stream the 4K version for $11. So I love it. And this launches in October. So if you have time to think about it, that's when the 3-year price gap or price forward ends. So Mike, we're gonna have to be making our choices sooner than later on that. Let's move into Sony's Madam Web movie that is filming currently. The characters were revealed officially, and I'm going to go through these, and you just stop me if you have any questions. I know you will. Number 1, Dakota Johnson, the main actress of this film, is playing Cassandra Webb, who is the original Madam Web. When you always look at Madam Web, you see that old lady. This is that version of Madam Web. So she's the original Madam Web. So
they sexified her out there, everybody. You don't have to worry about any old ladies in your movie.
Yeah, that's right. Unless it's a story being told backwards, one of the two. Sydney Sweeney is playing Julia Carpenter, who was a second Madam Web, who was also known as a Spider-Woman in and of her own right in the comic books for a while.
I'm excited to see Sydney Sweeney in something where she's kind of not playing a bratty teen. I think she has another like movie or series or something that's like on Amazon Prime that I haven't checked out. But we have seen her in this household from Euphoria and also The White Lotus. Yeah. And she's like weirdly like cranking out like trophies and Emmy nominations and stuff for the roles that she's been doing. So I feel like there's a lot more to her than what we've been seeing. So I'm not saying she's about to get an Oscar-worthy performance in a Madam Web movie, but it will be interesting to see her in something else.
Yeah, in a different role than what she's been in. So I think we'll be seeing more of her in these movies as well. Actress Celeste O'Connor, who I believe she was one of the actors in the new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, is playing Maddie Franklin, who was a 90s spider character along the way. A little unknown character. I didn't know her. Isabella Merced is playing Anya Corazon, who's known as Spider-Girl in the comic books. So, very interesting there. Adam Scott, your guy, your man.
Yeah,
like Adam
my guy,
Scott
my man.
Is playing Ben Parker, Uncle Ben.
Ben Parker. There it is. It is.
Yeah, I thought that would be the most surprising announcement here, Mike. But he's playing a younger Ben Parker, obviously before his death, as for Peter Parker. But the biggest news is actress Emma Roberts is playing Mary Parker, who is the mother of Peter Parker, and in this she is a pregnant character. So we are in some sort of universe where the actual Spider-Man hasn't been born yet. It is set in the early 2000s. It's on the cusp of Spider-Man being born. So is this a prequel to The Amazing Spider-Man?
No, this makes me feel so old, Chris, right? Yeah. I mean, how often do we lament our age on this podcast? But remember back in the day when there would be a prequel for a character and it would be set in like the 70s or the 80s, right? Because that's when the character would have to be canonically born. And now we're flashing back to the millennium for these characters. Oh my god, it makes me feel ancient. It's hilarious. Please feel free to laugh at me, because you should not be thinking any observation I have about old age is unique. It's been around as long as humans have. But it's interesting. I'll give it this. As weird as I think this whole project is, at least it's interesting. There's something happening here that I haven't quite seen before. I don't think really... I mean, they could be doing this whole like cosmic reasoning behind all of these different Spider-Men, and there's going to be all of this like multiversal things happening, right? But the origin of Peter Parker and Spider-Man itself is not really supposed to be special. Like, Peter Parker was never like destined for fame and superhero-dom and all of this responsibility, right? He's just a kid that happened to be bit by a spider. It was just happenstance. So this movie is kind of maybe suggesting that, maybe it was destiny all along, which I'm not saying is bad. I'm sure that type of storyline crops up all the time in comic books and then disappears and then gets rewritten. Like, I'm just trying to reframe myself as thinking these Sony movies are just weird offshoot comic book stories that I don't really have to take seriously, but maybe I'll pick up in a bargain bin every once in a while to entertain myself.
Well, I think the other thing is, I would say I agree with you. However, as we've seen recently, the past 10 years, Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, Spider-Man is, the Spider-Verse thing has grown, right, hugely in the past 10 years. So there's the idea that there are spider people and everything. I think, when you said this is doing something different, yes, this movie is doing something different. We've never seen female spider characters, right? We know Olivia Wilde is working on a Spider-Woman movie, but like to have 4 spider female characters in this movie is fantastic. Yeah,
I forgot about that. And it would be weird, right, if there's not necessarily bad, but if you have all of these spider characters like in costume doing superhero stuff, and then Peter Parker is then later born in that universe and becomes Spider-Man, because they wouldn't be the first spider character anymore. They would be like looking back in like old newspapers and be like, oh no, there's been spider people all around all the time. So at least it's like, at least my interest is being jogged. It's just it's a weird project. I love Adam Scott, so I'll see him in anything really. This is going to be weird. I guess we just have to assume that this is not like, this feels like different universe, right? Like, it has it written all over it. Like, is this in the Venom Morbius universe just 20 years in the past? Like, it doesn't really feel like it is.
Let me put a negative in your column for you here.
Okay, you want to poison me. Let's do it.
I do. Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless are the writers for this film. The last movie they wrote was Morbius.
My heart.
So, however, I don't know what this means at the end of the day. I just think, this is not a cheap cast to get here, Mike, right? These are people who, like, again, Sydney Sweeney's up and coming, Adam Scott's winning things, Dakota Johnson, Emma Roberts. These people are out doing things, and they're not ego heavy like Jared Leto, who's like doing projects for his own like self-serving purposes. So is there something special about this we're not seeing because we haven't seen the script or the story? And what does it tie in? I want it to tie into Spider-Man somehow. Like, does it end with the birth of a Spider-Man? Does it end, with, I don't know, something different going on here?
Oh my God, I'm just imagining the shot in the hospital, right? Whenever you see a woman give birth in a movie or a TV show, they have like the towel, the blanket around their legs, and then out from it you see a spider web shoot out during the birthing process. And that's when we all stand. That's when and then the credits roll, and then that's when the standing ovation in the theater happens. Like, I didn't think they could top Morbius, but you just start clapping.
Yeah, pump your brakes a little bit there. I don't think
and
we're
it
gonna
hits
get that, but
in a classic nod to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, it hits a can of Dr. Pepper. Isn't that what it hits in the movie? Right?
Yeah, it's like some sort of drink. Yeah, he's got to still be bit by the spider, but
And the doctor holding the Dr. Pepper is Bruce Campbell. And he's just like, whoa! And then like the credits roll.
Maybe the doctor helping with the is Dr. Michael Morbius.
Oh my gosh. And Doc Ock is there too. And he's like, I know I'm not a medical doctor, but I needed to fill in today.
Yeah, there's just a line of Spider-Man villains out the...
It's just slapstick. You know what? Sony has admitted to itself that we're never going to be able to compete on the same dramatic scale as the MCU, so we're just going to make a farce of everything.
It's Airplane, where they're all lining up to slap the baby, and it's just all the villains.
Chris, I don't understand why they don't hire us. We'll take a fraction of the pay, and then we'll even split it in half between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, you can save so much money.
Yeah, and you know what? We'd at least have a good time doing it. Everyone would have a good time doing it. We can make them laugh. So
we'll do press tours. I'll leak everything ahead of time. I'll be rambunctious.
Yeah,
it'll be great. I'll get you a return on your investment. I promise.
We could be Sony hype men. We could find a way to do it.
We could be the Kevin Feige of the Sony universe.
All right.
And yes, Chris, this is my pivot to the next topic.
You're shifting in here. Okay, so out of Madam Web into the DC stuff. We're gonna talk about DC for a minute. The DCEU. With Discovery, they're like, we need someone to drive this ship, right? This ship is going all over the place, from island to island, port to port. We don't know what's happening. The rumor this week is that they are considering Greg Berlanti, who is known for his Arrowverse stuff, and any movies? I just know there's Arrowverse stuff.
He's done stuff outside of the superhero universe. Yeah. He did Love, Simon, which was an adaptation of a book, and he also did like an indie movie too. He's not totally.
Right, but we know him in the superhero world for the Arrowverse, being the person to run the ship. So I don't.
Sounds like you're split here, Chris.
I am. Did the Arrowverse suffer because it's TV, 23 episodes a season, and went on too long, right? And they just didn't know what to do with it, because both the Flash and Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, hell, they all start off really good. So is it the longevity that hurts him, or what? But I don't think he's not a Simon Kinberg bad. I just don't know what to expect.
I think this is a genius move.
Okay.
Just because I feel like from the point of view of what Berlanti was doing when it comes to all of his thousands of projects that he's working on, like I'm being hyperbolic here, but it's a lot. I think he's literally at one point in time he was over like 24 projects in development, right? As a producer, his job is to kind of shepherd these things through and then hand them off to creative people. And I think you were onto the right track here of just like, you can only keep something running, a story, for so long, and we should be impressed that the Flash went 9 seasons with 20 plus episodes, that would be over 200 episodes or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So it's an impressive mark just to get there, right? But it's just, I think it's a good move. I think this is a person who could set up a universe that could go long periods, hit these milestones, hit these bullet points. It seems like he's already proven himself capable of doing that on a TV scale, which is riddled with budget constraints, time constraints, actor constraints, location constraints, right? If you give all the tools that you get at a feature studio, I mean, it seems like, what you're trying to do here is they got to make a bet on somebody, right?
Yeah.
Things have to change over at DC. Are you gonna bet on somebody, relatively unproven? Maybe he's only done a couple of things here and there, or do you do the most logical choice?
Yeah.
And at least this seems logical. Like, no one's gonna be able to say like outright this is 100% bad idea. So maybe this is where you put your money into.
And the thing is, I guess I don't blame Greg Berlanti for everything. He's currently working. He's a producer on Titans, Doom Patrol, and Stargirl, which are all running, right? 3 different tones in shows, right? One's very dark and dramatic. One's very humorous, and Doom Patrol's kind of farcical, and the other one, Stargirl, is for kids on the CW. So he's shown to be very versatile and stuff. He's also written some of the Arrow stuff, some of the Supergirl stuff. He might even wrote on Legends of Tomorrow. So I think he is, a great choice because, again, like Kevin Feige, he came from the X-Men era, right? The early X-Men era, worked his way through superheroes before kicking off the MCU proper with Iron Man and, as we talked about earlier, the Incredible Hulk. So yes, I think he does have that. I just want to make sure, we're giving credit where credit's due. And I don't blame him for anything. I think it's a fantastic choice. But would there be anyone else better out there, Mike? I guess is my question. but this is not a bad choice out the gate at all.
Yeah, it's one of those hard things to figure out too, right? Because it's like, you know, you don't necessarily want to tap just a director. You want somebody that has mass producing experience, and those people usually aren't like super well known to the public, right? You know, people in Hollywood would know them and keep track of them. You know, producers know producers. You know, but like, you know, us out here, we're just kind of waiting for the announcement, right? And then we'll all Google the person, and you know, and then judge them after we see their credits.
Yep.
But yeah, if I was a betting man, if I was in charge of Warner Brothers and there was a board of directors that were all breathing down my neck to fix this, you know, this seems logical.
Yeah, 100%. I think give him, you know, I wouldn't say bring it all in, but like, hey, pick a starting point and go forward, and he could do it. He's also, his Green Lantern stuff is in the works. I'm really excited to see if that comes to fruition as well. So we'll let you know if he's picked or not. Let's talk about The Flash real fast. Apparently, they were talking to people. This has nothing to do with Ezra Miller at this time. However, you know, they have been talking to people, you know, behind the scenes at Discovery/WB. Figure, what are we going to do with The Flash? They've come down with 3 options, Mike. And out of these 3 options, reshooting this movie is not one of those options. They're not going to refilm this movie. Number 1 is let Ezra Miller get help, you know, seek counseling, therapy, whatever. Whatever works for them, and then release the film as normal, right? Let him own his personal problems and then release the film. It's worked before. I think Ben Affleck did that, right? When he had alcoholism during
a little lesser extent, but yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. It's not in the news all the time. They could reshoot the ending with a new actor, which I think everyone under the sun has talked about. How do you recast him? That's always a viable option. And B, it's just scrap the film altogether, and they said that is not off the table at this point in time. Nuke it.
Another reason for us to get an entertainment lawyer on this show, right, is I don't understand wholly how write-offs work within a Hollywood studio system, right? I know that they're doing that with Batgirl, right? You know, they're claiming it as a loss. So if I am to follow that logical assumption, The Flash would be a bigger loss to claim. So would that be better for them on the tax sheet to write off a bigger movie? What
I saw with this is it's not a loss. This is an insurance claim. Due to the actor and the unviability of the film, the insurance they take on the film would be for The Flash. They just don't know if it's in the right window for the insurance viability rather than the actual loss
just
and
like
savings.
So just like when you run into a telephone pole with your car, they're going to pay the $500 deductible, and then they're going to get reimbursed for the movie. So the weird thing is we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of Ezra Miller's kind of problems before I would say they got worse. But we were in this situation where if you got to look at it from a societal lens, right, and from the point of view of the current time that we're in. Whereas, like, Ezra Miller's problems are bad, right? But they haven't quite reached the level of, like, I would say cancellation in a way. And I would say a lot of other people have different opinions, and I'm open to everyone else's opinions, right? But yeah, it does seem like he is technically rehabable, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, if he just came out, made a statement, went into rehab, you know, really took it seriously, I could see him being able to rehab his career because he's just been doing lots of really illegal shenanigans, right? He's not necessarily sexually assaulting people, even though I know that kind of has the grooming aspect of it has been out there, but I don't really know where that's at right now. So they seem rehabable in a sense, but like, is that, you know, if that is a path you want to go down, Ezra Miller has to commit to it. They have to convince the studio that this is something that they can put behind Ezra. So I don't know if that is possible, but it does seem salvageable in a way. So yeah, I think that is a viable option. Reshooting the ending, that could be clever, right? Because then at least you're coming up with a narrative way to solve the problem, which kind of tickles the part of my brain of like, okay, well, how do we visually change the actor? Do we kill off Barry Allen and bring in Kid Flash in a way? You know, everybody loves Kid Flash. We could get a rambunctious Tom Holland type in here, you know, to do something. Maybe cast a Stranger Things kid. That always seems to work. You know, I think there is... Was it?
Well, if it's Berlanti, do you get Grant Gustin?
Oh, that could be
We talked
clever.
about him not being the Flash, but like if Greg Berlanti's involved and you got Grant Gustin, I mean, hell, there's your introduction to Berlanti right there.
You've already built a lot of goodwill with the actor.
Yeah.
I think there is a storyline. I can't remember if I read it in a comic or if it was in Young Justice. My brain has just melded, but I think there is a storyline where there is an adult Flash that like sacrifices their life to save a younger version of the Flash. So that the sacrificial play could be in there.
Yeah.
Either way, they'd have to reshoot the ending.
Well,
there's rumors, not necessarily rumors, but there are kind of like initial reports of people that have seen like the test screening for the Flash that have said the ending of the movie kind of leaves Ezra Miller in the pocket. Like, he's still going to be the Flash with the current ending that they were testing. So you're right, reshoots would be necessary. But yeah, I think I just like the idea of a storytelling creative solution too.
Well, here's the other thing. We know Barry Allen as the Flash, but there literally are a dozen other characters as the Flash, right? In that, so like people who have the Speed Force. So is it maybe not a recast of Barry Allen if Ezra Miller is rehabable, right? Is it like, hey, we're gonna get the other Flash characters up here, kind of like how Green Lantern has a dozen Green Lantern characters? Like, do we just we just add on somebody rather than having to actually write somebody out of the movie?
And how do you do that though? Because even if you do write in a script, Barry dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to bring Ezra back in to film that scene? Do you just use CG technology to recreate the face, so like fading into the Speed Force? Do you need new dialogue? Is there a way to make it organic? I'm not entirely sure. There are confirmations that Ezra was doing reshoots this summer before some of the big dramatic headlines came out about them. So I don't know if they were filming stuff that to possibly pivot on this. I don't know. It is wild. I would just love to be a fly on the wall for the production of this film.
Yeah.
I mean, from start to finish, the length, the changeover of directors, the drama.
I don't even know if I want to go to production. I just want to be like, I want those update emails every week, right? Like, hey, what's the status on this? Just a big bunch of shrugs. Like, I don't know. Like, what do we?
Can I get the copy of the minutes?
Yeah.
For this one.
So,
So
three options. None of these seem unviable, really. Really at this time. So.
And this is supposed to be the end of the year, right? Isn't this a November film? Or did it get moved?
I actually have it pulled up here. We have it as June. It's June next year. It wasn't moved to next year. It was moved from early. It was March of next year, and it was moved to June of next year.
Gotcha. Okay, so they got a little bit more time to make a decision.
The worst part of this is it's not the story, it's not the movie in itself. It's one actor ruining this for everybody, right? Like, even the directors and writers are the people who wrote Spider-Man: Homecoming. So we just gotta keep guessing until it hits. So hopefully
Hollywood. I mean, like I said it before, the thing I love about Hollywood is it's just unpredictable.
Yeah.
Even when you think you got it nailed down packed, there's always a wild card.
Hollywood is not Holly good sometimes.
There you go.
All right. I'll stop with the bad jokes. We're moving on into The Batman. Fun fact I found out this week: the sequel to The Batman, one of the biggest movies of the year, right? Has still not been greenlit by Warner Brothers or Discovery. So we were kind of under the safe assumption it was. They're doing the Penguin show, right? Obviously, with Colin Farrell. Maybe they're working out details, scheduling. I don't know what's going on here. But
maybe I would imagine it's just like clerical, probably bookkeeping issues, right? There was new ownership at the studio, so just different I's and T's need to be crossed. Would be my guess. Maybe if the 45-day window, right, that has to be written down in like a contract for like Robert Pattinson somewhere, right? That's changing, so then now the sequel has to change. So I'm not looking into this too much, but it is a sign that even some of the biggest, most successful things at Warner Brothers need to be kind of like reevaluated in a sense of like, we can't just automatically greenlight stuff. There's corporate things that have to happen. So
exactly. And it's not necessarily that it's a bad movie or that things didn't go as planned. It's just there are other things that we just don't know happening in the background.
What I remember the most about that movie, which is not a bad thing. every time I think about the Batman, I always think about the score, which I think is really impressive because I can't think of the last time I had seen like a superhero film or a comic book film where the score has stuck with me for so long. Mm-hmm. So props to that film for just being an earworm, which doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I think for me, it always sounded like Darth Vader, like the Imperial March kind of music. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to watch it. I think to me the visuals stick out to me probably more than the sound, right? Like I love music. The sound is pretty good. Like the car chase scene, right? How deliberate Matt Reeves was with every shot. So I would love more. I hate that we have to wait for another one, but I would love more sooner than later. Because if you don't, the Batman stuff you get in the meantime is stupid as hell. And I've not watched Pennyworth, so this is not a statement on the quality of it, but the new season 3 for Pennyworth, which was confirmed, has been retitled, called Pennyworth, The Origin of Batman's Butler.
I don't know what's crazier, Chris, that you telling me there's a season 3 confirmed that it made it past season 1. I totally forgot if we even reported on it that there's a season 2 of Pennyworth.
We did because it's on HBO Max now. I think it went from Epix
now
to
it
Max.
made it to a season 3. That's wild enough in and of itself. But now it's called The Origin of Batman's Butler. It sounds like a book that you would buy at the Scholastics Fair in elementary school, right? Like, oh, we don't have any Batman books, but we do have this one about Batman's butler.
So this whole show is based on Alfred Pennyworth being a spy, right? A very competent, spy and being able to exist in wartime kind of thing. This title makes me sound like he's going to butler school and how to be a very efficient butler. Nothing what he's actually doing in the show. It tells me he's going to go learn about manners and how to clean laundry and fold stuff for rich people. And I'm like,
Batman doesn't even exist in this universe yet. The phrase Batman has not been invented yet. No human has breathed this word in his world, but he's already training to be its butler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is this a Madam Web situation, but for Alfred? There's several other Bat girls around Alfred, right? Maybe this is a Charlie's Angels and Charlie is Alfred situation.
And I'll be fair. The last time I made fun of an origin show like this was Krypton. Right, and we only ever got good word of Krypton. It was actually a really good show, and people were liking it. So, and I'm always of the belief that you can make literally anything good if the writing's good enough.
So,
it doesn't matter what it is. So, this could be good. It's just fun to make fun of it.
It is 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
That is not bad.
That is not
IMDb
bad.
is already a broken scale, so you already have to add a 1 to it, which means it's sitting at a B, which is not bad.
4.7 out of 660 ratings on the audience scale. So if the few people who are watching this are enjoying it, again, nothing against the quality. The title is just awful. And I think it undersells the premise of the show at the end of the day.
Now, they could maybe take a Gotham approach of a way and just kind of rewrite the history a little bit. Wouldn't it be an interesting kind of turn if Alfred kind of becomes a proto-Batman in a way of they become a vigilante at night in a costume, and then so it sets up this idea of when Bruce decides to have that epiphany moment to become a vigilante, it's not just because he saw a random bat in a cave. It's because he found an old file folder in a safe that had pictures of Alfred or something, or he found Alfred's own little bat cave, and he's continuing the mantle on in a newer, improved way. Because then at least it gives a little bit more interest to the idea of it leads to something at some point in time. But who knows? Maybe that's literally happening right now, and I'm just not watching the show. Yeah. But there you go.
He's still a young gentleman, so he's got a ways to go. But yeah, I think if you're going this far, I think season 3 is going to be the end of your show. But we've been wrong before, and it could get a 4 or a 5 even along the way. Lastly, Mike, have you had a chance to watch this new Sonic movie yet? Sonic 2?
I haven't watched any of them
yet. Oh my god, you're missing out, man.
It's so funny to me because every time we talk about Sonic, I'm always I'll watch it. I know it's streaming for free. I can watch it whenever I want on one of these services, and I just never get around
Sonic
to it.
Sonic 1's great.
The idea evaporates from my brain the second that the podcast is over.
I'm gonna schedule a reminder to text you this week to watch Sonic when you get a chance. Sonic 1's great. I still need to watch Sonic 2. I know premise about it, but we talked about this. This is not really a spoiler, but it's Sonic 3. Christian Bale has been cast as Shadow the Hedgehog, the voice of Shadow.
Which is so funny because I mean, like, the funny thing about Sonic voice acting characters, you know, from like the video games, right, is that like the voices never match these kind of weird kind of animal.
They were never in the games.
Creature.
You just heard the spinning sound, and then when you boing off a jump. Down.
Yeah, well, in the 3D versions of the games, you know, the characters do have voices, and Shadow has like, I can't even do it. Has like this kind of super deep gravelly voice.
So he's doing his Batman. Bale.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is like, Christian Bale's like perfect, and then obviously everyone lost it when Idris Elba was cast as Knuckles, because it's just like, Knuckles is not supposed to be sexy, what's happening here? So I love this train of like just getting these huge actors,
A-list actors, you know, as like all, like, you got Jim Carrey as Eggman, right, Robotnik, and it's fun. So this is coming out Christmas 2024. Can you imagine just a couple years ago, Sonic was the fucking joke of the internet, right? Like with his human teeth and his eyes, like even so much that Chip and Dale use him as a joke character.
Ugly Sonic. Oh my god.
Sonic. So
that's like, the best thing about Sonic is that ugly Sonic now exists in that film.
He has bounced back. He is, you know, speeding into your homes, and I'm excited to see this. So I need to watch the second one. So I'll probably put that on my. I have a little list of things I need to watch.
Isn't it weird to think that we're getting a Sonic trilogy before we're kind of getting like a proper decent Mario movie too? It's weird that like Sega has kind of like lapped the I mean, this mascot Sonic was created to compete directly with Mario. Right. Like he was grown in a lab to compete with another company, and now he's outpacing Mario.
Well, I also think the other thing is Mario had a movie, and if you've watched it, you would know how bad it is. Sonic has one movie, and it's more recent. So I think I would say maybe I wouldn't poke fun of that. I'm actually disappointed Pokemon hasn't come up with another 2 movies, right? After the success of Detective Pikachu.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I loved Detective Pikachu. I was surprised how fun that movie was. Yeah. And where's the announcement? Where's the tease to the sequel? Like, I was so confident about the Pokemon movie universe. When we reviewed the movie, I was like, oh, this is next. This is it. Yeah. This is the thing that's going to like overtake the box office, this Pokemon franchise. And now I'm here like an idiot, like 4 years later? Yeah. Well, nothing's happened.
I would say it's even more. And honestly, even if we didn't get a Detective Pikachu 2, something else set in that universe would work easily, right? Like it would work so well. So like thoroughly disappointed, I think, in the Pokemon company rather than Mario, because they had a success. They had a huge hit with that, and just kind of.
And you had Ryan Reynolds. Like he was, not only was he like, we thought he was at his peak when he was voicing Pikachu. He's peaked even more now. Yeah. He keeps climbing the mountain.
He hasn't even begun to peak, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and also like it's much easier to nab him because you're only getting his voice. Well, I guess technically he is physically in the film a little bit. But yeah, you got his voice. Like, just go at it.
Right. Well, even if not, you've set a very visual universe that you could do other stories in. Mm-hmm. That you could grab other actors or different characters, and Ryan Reynolds could be an ancillary character, right, of it. But like, there is so much fun you could be had in there, and they just haven't done anything. So man, yeah. Poof. Ending on a sour note. Anyway,
Detective Pikachu. Here we go. We might as well end the show with a little bit more Googling. Detective Pikachu 2. Now this is what I do, folks. Okay. I type it in, then I click on the news tab to see if anybody has picked anything up. And nope. Well,
the problem you're going to run into, there's a new Pokemon game coming out in like 2 months. So
well, this says February 20th, 2022. So in this calendar year, Detective Pikachu 2 is still in development. A recruitment site shows. So I don't know if they're posting job ads earlier this year for maybe like a VFX artist or something. I don't know what's happening, but I guess there's still rumors out there in the world of this. But yeah, give it to me already. Yeah, It's great.
We want
what a world to mind.
I mean, literally make another game. You can make a Detective Pikachu game to release alongside it. New cards, new everything, right? This is a whole merchandise blitz you could do that Sonic didn't even do. Like, Sonic was like, here's just your movie. Like, no new game. Here, have at it. So, yeah. All right. Well, anyways, Mike, let's wrap this up. People have been with us for an hour and a half now. If people want to know what you're doing, what you're up to, where can they get you at, my man?
Oh, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can read my web comics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you and give you snack recommendations for your basement movie theater, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. To all my Fortnite peeps, get ready for your Dragon Ball Z this week. Kamehameha, as they say in that show, Mike. You gotta, it's like a namaste thing. No, I'm kidding. People know more about the show, all the notes, all those release schedules that I was referring to while we were here. Where can they get all this good stuff at? When you get to the merch, tell me, because I want to make a call out there.
Yeah, we got some hot spicy show notes this week with some good blue links. So you want to head on over to superheroslate.com to check out the show notes for our episodes, and we got our awesome upcoming release calendar. So if you're like me and forget when She-Hulk is supposed to come out, or don't know when The Flash is going to come out, we got a nice just text itemized list of when these movies are coming out. No pop-up ads, no dumb subscribe to our newsletter thing that jumps into your face. It's great. It's a tool. We love to we made it for us, and now we're giving it to you. So you can head on over to superheroslate.com to see that. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and where else you love to listen to fine podcasts. So, Chris, this is the merch section. Yes. It's where I tell people to go to superheroslate.com/store. So what do you have to add?
I bought 2 shirts to wear to Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago. I got one of Mike's awesome Burger King Infinity Gauntlet designs, right, on a red baseball tee with red sleeves. Absolutely killing it. People were complimenting that shirt left and right, Mike. So kudos to you.
Love that.
Very comfy shirt from TeePublic. And also, I got a regular, just a purple with the Superhero Slate logo. The new Heather options are beautiful colors and just as comfortable, if not more comfortable than other shirts. So,
I love Heathered shirts.
Yeah, so I mean, you may say, oh, well, I mean, are these good shirts? TeePublic makes fantastic shirts and fantastic fabric. I bought it for myself. Like, I spent my own money to get these so I could wear them at the thing, and I just absolutely fell in love with them. So I just want to give you a shout for the designs and TeePublic to do that. And they can get them. Where can they get the swag at? Again, did you already say?
Superheroslate.com/store.
Perfect.
So that'll forward you to our TeePublic page. And, you can do all the awesome things that you can do with any other TeePublic item, right? You can get a sticker. You can get it on a water bottle. You can put it on, like, a mouse pad, a sketchbook. I don't expect anyone to buy a lot of those ancillary things, right? It doesn't really matter what you buy either. But, it's just a checkbox, right? So I leave it checked open so you can get it on whatever you want.
Whatever you guys want.
So, yeah. superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. What do you think the future of the Hulk looks like when it can return to theaters? We'd love to know your thoughts. Do you want stingers to come back to Disney Plus shows every week? Just at the end, curious, how do you feel about the Madam Web that's being weaved? What's your idea? If you were in charge of Warner Brothers, what would you do with The Flash? We love hearing your ideas, your thoughts. Reach out, let us know. We love our super fans. If you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a pal, a buddy, a chum, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.